Across the bay from the glittering wealth of San Francisco lies a city in crisis, Oakland. Once a thriving hub of industry and sports, it now stands as a stark and sobering example of what can happen when a progressive government's experiment goes wrong. This isn't just a story about crime statistics. It's about a city's fall from grace, a government mired in corruption, and the everyday people left to fend for themselves in a place they no longer recognize. 6 years ago, Oakland was a city on the rise, home to 3 major sports teams, including the championship-winning Golden State Warriors. Now, all 3 teams are gone, businesses have fled, and its disgraced mayor faces decades in jail. What happened to this once beautiful city? We went to Oakland to find out, and what we discovered was a tale of decline, desperation, and a government that seems to have abandoned its people. From Detroit to the Pacific to a progressive policy graveyard, Oakland's history is rooted in hard work and industry. Founded during the gold rush, it became a major hub for auto manufacturing in the early 1900s, earning the nickname the Detroit of the Pacific. During World War II, it was a vital part of the war effort, with black migrants from the South playing a crucial role in building ships and aircraft. A massive Chevrolet plant, which once employed thousands, is now just a memory in one of the city's roughest neighborhoods. By the 1960s and 70s, the manufacturing base began to crumble, leaving behind a vacuum that would eventually be filled by rising crime and poverty. Today, Oakland holds the unfortunate distinction of having the highest robbery rate in the country. In 2023, 1 car was stolen for every 30 residents, and 1 in every 10 residents was a victim of a property crime. These aren't just numbers. They're the harsh reality of daily life for the city's inhabitants. The sense of lawlessness is so pervasive that residents have learned to adapt. One man, a local who has been shot multiple times, gave a chilling demonstration of how car robberies are carried out. He explained that thieves simply use a center punch to shatter a window, and the entire process takes mere seconds. When asked about police response times, he simply pointed to the bullet holes in his body and spoke of seeing dead bodies left in the street for hours. "We're too busy. Call back later," is what he and others say they've heard from authorities. A city abandoned, the exodus of sports and businesses. The decay of Oakland is visible in the empty spaces left behind by its sports teams. It's hard to visit the city and not feel a sense of melancholy if you're a sports fan. The Oakland A's, the Raiders, and the Warriors all are gone, lured away by better financial offers from other cities like San Francisco and Las Vegas. This exodus isn't limited to sports. Businesses are leaving in droves as well. One local told us, it took decades to convince companies to invest in East Oakland. Now, years of hard work vanished in a short amount of time. The city's streets, once clean and beautiful, are now littered with trash. The contrast between this decay and the extravagant wealth seen across the bay is staggering. To understand the heart of the problem, we must turn to Oakland's political landscape, a chaotic mess that a recent grand jury report found is heading toward bankruptcy. The city's progressive mayor and district attorney were both recalled last year, with the mayor now facing serious bribery charges that could lead to decades in prison. We met with Seneca Scott, the community organizer who led the recall effort. He firmly believes that progressive policies have destroyed the city. Scott, who used to be a progressive Democrat himself, said the COVID-19 crime surge changed his perspective. He pointed to the city's abysmal crime-solving rates. Only 27% of its murders and a mere 6.5% of its violent crimes are ever solved. The city has a higher violent crime-to-police officer ratio than Baltimore and Cleveland, 2 cities known for their crime problems. Scott also revealed the government's staggering incompetence and misplaced priorities. He claimed that Oakland's 911 response times are so bad they should have lost state funding. But Gavin Newsom looked the other way to avoid a negative headline. The city, he says, is run by police abolitionists who refuse to invest in public safety. Even more bizarre is the city's encampment management policy, which publicly lists where it will clean up homeless encampments. This has led to dump tourism, with people from other states coming to Oakland to illegally dump trash and waste, knowing exactly where and when the city will clean it up. The portal to prosperity, Emeryville versus Oakland. Perhaps the most dramatic illustration of Oakland's struggles can be found at the city limits, where it borders Emeryville. The contrast is so stark, it's like entering a portal. One minute you're in Oakland, with trash-strewn streets and unkempt lawns. The next, you cross a line into Emeryville, and the public spaces are meticulously maintained. This isn't a difference in demographics. The two areas have similar racial breakdowns and population densities. The key difference, according to Seneca Scott, is the government. Emeryville, with its different political policies, has a functioning public works department that keeps the city clean and safe. Oakland does not. Beyond the political corruption and failed policies, we found a community grappling with the day-to-day realities of survival. In East Oakland, we met people who spoke candidly about the struggle. One man, a rapper named Cash Out 18K, explained that it's often easier to get money the wrong way than the right way. He said it's easier to find a gun than it is to find a job, and that young kids as young as 10 are carrying firearms because they feel they have no other choice for protection. The city's poverty is stark, despite some parts of Oakland having a median household income higher than the national average due to gentrification. However, in the deep parts of East Oakland, many feel the system is rigged against them. One man passionately argued that undocumented immigrants receive more government benefits than American citizens, while others express their frustration with the government, including Kamala Harris, whom they feel abandoned the community she was meant to serve. Don't believe the hype. Navigating a dangerous city. Despite the grim reality, some locals were quick to offer advice on how to navigate the city without becoming a victim. The key, they said, is to not show your chains and to have good energy. If you walk around with a sense of fear, you'll attract the wrong kind of attention. The advice was a mix of street smarts and a philosophical acceptance of their surroundings. You might get your whipped up, one man laughed, acknowledging the city's dangers. As we left Oakland and headed to Atherton, the richest town in America, the contrast was a fitting end to our journey. Oakland is a city that, for all its problems, is still home to people with incredible resilience and spirit. But it's a city that has been failed by its leaders, a place where a progressive government experiment has gone terribly, tragically wrong. The city's decline is a cautionary tale, a vivid illustration of how broken policies can unravel a community and leave its people to suffer the consequences. How does a 12-year-old get a gun? The combination of high crime and a lack of police presence has created a dangerous environment, especially for the youth. The man explains that kids as young as 10 and 12 are walking around with guns because they feel they have no other choice but to protect themselves. I know if I'm walking down the street and y'all think I'm from over here and I ain't got nothing to do with that, you're gonna flock at me. So I'm first. The man, a rapper who goes by Cash Out 18K, says he uses his music to tell a story and turn the negative into a positive. The progressive government experiment gone wrong. Many residents point the finger at Oakland's political leadership. The city's former mayor, who was recalled, now faces decades in prison for a bribery scheme. A grand jury report found that the city is heading toward bankruptcy. One community organizer, who successfully led a recall effort against the mayor, believes that progressive policies are to blame for the city's decline. He points to the artificially cheap price of fentanyl in Oakland compared to neighboring cities, leading to what he calls drug tourism. The city's public safety crisis is also a major concern, with only 27% of its murders and 6.5% of its violent crimes getting solved. The organizer states that Oakland has a higher violent crime to police officer ratio than Baltimore and Cleveland. The tale of two cities. The contrast between Oakland and its neighbor, Emeryville, is a stark one. The two cities share the same racial and socioeconomic demographics, but as soon as you cross the Emeryville city line, the landscape changes dramatically. The streets are clean and public works are well maintained. The difference, according to the community organizer, is simple: government. The government in Emeryville invests in public works and infrastructure, while Oakland's government, still run by police abolitionists, refuses to invest in public safety, which has led to the city on the brink of bankruptcy.